Welcome to Battleground MTG. Today we're going to talk about why Republicans fail. And you may have seen clips of this on the news or social media. So let's start with a video to get it started.
I'm also concerned about people on this committee and their own anti-police rhetoric. This is a defund the FBI campaign effort.
That was quite entertaining from someone that had a sexual relationship with a Chinese spy, and everyone knows it. But
I move to take our words down. Completely inappropriate.
Yeah, stand by just a second while we research the rule. Give me just a second. The chair recognizes the gentlelady from Georgia and asks if she would like to retract those words.
No, I will not. So you probably saw that happen. This was on the Homeland Security Committee in our investigation and questioning of Secretary Mayorkas about Biden's border crisis and how Mayorkas has failed as the Secretary of Homeland Security. That started right after Eric Swalwell had used his 5 minutes to attack President Trump and to attack me. And after Eric Swalwell was finished with his 5 minutes, it was my turn to spend 5 minutes questioning Secretary Mayorkas. So I started off my 5 minutes by responding to Eric Swalwell and calling out the obvious. Now, what's more offensive? I think the question we should ask is what's more offensive? A congressman having a sexual relationship with a Chinese spy, or calling it out and saying the truth about it? Well, according to Benny Thompson and the Democrats yesterday, they found it more offensive that I stated the truth about Eric Swalwell. And this truth is known by everyone. Let's take a look at Tucker and what he exposed about Eric Swalwell.
So the last director of national intelligence went to Capitol Hill and briefed the intel committees about foreign espionage threats. And at the time, he recommended to the so-called Gang of Eight that Eric Swalwell, the man you just saw, be removed from the House Intel Committee, the most sensitive committee in the House of Representatives. Why? Because he'd been compromised by China. And that's not an overstatement. A Chinese spy helped get Eric Swalwell elected to the Congress. A Chinese spy raised money for Eric Swalwell's campaign. A Chinese spy campaigned for Eric Swalwell. A Chinese spy placed staffers in Eric Swalwell's office. But the main problem, and the main problem that the intel community had with Eric Swalwell, is that he had sex with a Chinese spy. Now, we've made fun of him over the years for this, but it's real. And Swalwell has never denied it because he can't deny it. And everyone who's looked into it knows that it's true. So we're not here to cast aspersions on Eric Swalwell's personal life. But if you're having sex with a Chinese spy, sorry, you can't be on the House Intel Committee. It's that simple.
Well, in my opinion, if you're having a sexual relationship with a Chinese spy, you shouldn't serve on any committees. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't be serving as a United States member of Congress. But unfortunately, I seem to be the only one with that opinion, along with hundreds of millions of other Americans. But that's not how Congress works, everyone. And that's not how the Democrats play ball with the Republicans. And unfortunately, Republicans cave nearly every single time. Watch how the Democrats act. You know what they do? If a Republican happened to be in the same state as a Chinese spy, they'll make that accusation, they'll turn it into truth and spread it all over their state-controlled media. But when we reveal the truth about a Democrat member of Congress and his known sexual relationship with a Chinese spy, Benny Thompson and everyone, all the Democrats on the Homeland Committee, feign their outrage, and they are appalled that I would even speak and utter such words on the committee. You know, Democrats are so pious and righteous and all. So they wanted to strike down my words. We had to go through a process yesterday after I had only made one statement stating the truth and the facts about Eric Swalwell, stating that it was pretty entertaining for him to spend his 5 minutes attacking President Trump, attacking me personally, you know, impugning my character, impugning the character of the 45th president of the United States. not using his 5 minutes to question Secretary Mayorkas about the severe situation at the border, where we're being invaded by thousands of people every single day, where there's real human trafficking, where there's sex trafficking, where they have found 8-year-old little girls with 67 different types of DNA inside her body because she's been raped 67 times. That's not what Eric Swalwell or Benny Thompson or the Democrats care about to talk to Secretary Mayorkas about. No, Eric Swalwell wants to attack President Trump and myself so he can raise money for his campaign. Tragic. But the real part that everyone should be concerned about was how the Democrats, they're really good at what they do. And Benny Thompson is skilled. He's very skilled because he used his committee chairmanship as the minority ranking member on the Homeland Committee to pretend to be outraged and try to strike down my words. Luckily, that time the Republicans on the committee held the line and we had to have an actual vote to keep my words in place. Thankfully, Republicans had courage on that occasion to stand up to the woke mob on the Democrat side of Homeland Security Committee. But it didn't work out that way after all. But let me explain to you why the Republicans held the line. This is very important to know because it is a fact that Eric Swalwell had a sexual relationship with a Chinese spy. And because of that reason, that is why our speaker, Kevin McCarthy, kicked him off of the Intelligence Committee and would not allow him to serve. Now, what should bother you even more so is that Nancy Pelosi, last Congress, as Speaker of the House, she was briefed on the same information and she allowed him to stay on the Intelligence Committee. Let's hear from Kevin McCarthy right now.
You said you're going to let Democrats appoint their own members to the committee, but you've also indicated you're not going to let them.
I was very clear early on. Let me phrase something very direct to you. If you got the briefing I got from the FBI, you wouldn't have Swalwell on any committee. And you're going to tell me other Democrats couldn't fill that slot? He cannot get a security clearance in the private sector. So would you like to give him a government clearance? You asked me questions about Santos. You asked the questions about Swalwell. Not only was he getting a clearance, he was inside an intel committee. He had more information than the majority of all the members. Did you ever raise that issue? No, but you should have. You're going to tell me there's 200 other Democrats that couldn't fill that slot, but they kept him on it? The only way that they even knew it came forward is when they went to nominate him to the Intel Committee. And then the FBI came and told the leadership then, he's got a problem. And they kept him on. That jeopardized all of us.
Speaker McCarthy is correct. That jeopardizes all of us. When a member of Congress serves on the Intelligence Committee, they are privy to information that the rest of Congress does not know. And here is Eric Swalwell with 5 minutes to question Secretary Mayorkas, and he chooses to make it about political attacks against President Trump and myself. Eric Swalwell, serving on the Intelligence Committee, I'm sure had information about the dangers at the southern border. He knows about terrorists that have come across the border. He knows about terrorists that are known gotaways. He knows about the human trafficking. He knows about the danger of the cartels. He knows this true national security crisis for America because of the failures of Secretary Mayorkas. But Eric Swalwell decided to play politics. And then when I called him out and pointed to the obvious truth that endangers all of America, that when we have a United States member of Congress that is compromised by China because he couldn't keep it in his pants and he had a sexual relationship with a Chinese spy, I'm the one that they want to come after. I'm the one they want to strike down my words. Here is the very serious situation that everyone needs to consider. Why aren't the Democrats upset with their own colleague, Eric Swalwell, for his sexual relationship with a Chinese spy? What country do they care about and what country do they serve if they are not offended at his own actions, his sexual relationship with a Chinese spy, but yet they're outraged and offended that I dare speak the truth about it while we're on the Homeland Committee. That's the question everyone should be asking themselves, not how dare Marjorie Taylor Greene tell the truth. If you want to think about what a threat China is, watch this next video.
Investment by Chinese companies in the U.S. is now at a record high and growing. Another foreign deal causing chatter, if not national security concerns.
Smithfield agreeing to be acquired by China's Swalwell International for $34.
Chinese company today offering nearly $5 billion.
It would be the largest Chinese takeover of any American company.
Questions are being raised about why China wants our pigs. It's easy to poke fun that they're just buying some pigs, but really they're buying agricultural production here. Are you worried about it as a national security issue?
The definition of national security should include how a country feeds itself.
China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man.
China is a direct threat to our entire existence.
China's waging a soft war against the United States across almost every front.
Major Chinese companies now buying massive amounts of American land, farms, and cattle ranches.
We got the CCP buying up farmland. What are they doing with it?
Is China doing that to spy on the U.S. military?
They are buying up access to be able to surround American military facilities.
All told, China has either purchased land, installed telecommunications equipment near 4 U.S. Air Force bases.
And they're known, adversaries of the United States. So how are we allowing that to happen?
It also impacts the very security of our food.
Food security is national security.
And it's something that needs to be taken seriously.
China is embedded in the United States.
China didn't just one day magically overtake us. Our leaders made that possible. They abetted it. They profited from it. They betrayed us.
Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell, who sits on the House Intel Committee, has ties to a Chinese spy.
Are you concerned that you shared any information with this person before you were notified by the FBI?
Well, I know that I didn't.
It's sad, but Swalwell still serves with distinction. He's the only elected official in Washington we can say with confidence has had sex with a Chinese spy.
The staffer for Senator Dianne Feinstein turned out to be a Chinese spy reporting back about local politics. The Chinese spy was Feinstein's driver, who also served as a gopher in the Bay Area office and was a liaison to the Asian American community. He even attended Chinese consulate functions for the senator.
What we should be standing together on is we should be standing against China. We should be standing against globalism. Well, after we got finished playing with the charades and the games with the Democrats, while they were so offended about me talking about Eric Swalwell's known sexual relationship with a Chinese spy, I finally got to have my time back. And I had about 4 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock where I could keep asking questions and interviewing the failed Secretary Mayorkas about his failed policies that are endangering America. And I got into the questions, and one of the things I was talking about was the poison fentanyl that is coming from China. We know for a fact it's coming from China. Eric Swalwell even knows it's coming from China. It's coming from China directly into Mexico, and the cartels are lacing drugs and trafficking these drugs into the United States. Part of my testimony is I was talking about how over 300 Americans are being murdered and poisoned every single day by Chinese fentanyl coming across our border through the cartels, drug trafficking, and human trafficking. These are very serious issues. And no American who is paying taxes wants our country invaded daily by poisonous drugs and by dangerous criminals coming across our border, selling these drugs not only to adults, but especially to children. And I was talking to Secretary Mayorkas about rainbow fentanyl, and I was explaining to him how his failed policies is so dangerous to children in schools now that every single school in the United States is having to keep Narcan on the school property because kids are being poisoned while they're at school using drugs laced with Chinese fentanyl. And so you can take a look as I was talking to Secretary Mayorkas about this issue. Here's what happened next.
Congresswoman, let me assure you that we're not letting it go on. We are fighting this.
No, I reclaim my time. You're a liar. You are letting this go on, and the numbers prove it. You can't lie about the facts, Secretary Mayorkas. While you live in denial and sit over there with this attitude that you're doing everything right, you are killing Americans with your policies. And that is a fact. Your policies are killing people, over 300 Americans a day, over 300, and it's outrageous. Let me ask you another question. We talk about terror.
The ranking member is recognized.
You know, we can disagree, but just the fact that we have people watching, you don't have to call a witness a liar. There's a way that we ought to conduct ourselves. And what I'm hearing is not how a majority of this committee conducts business, and we can do better. So I asked that the words be taken down.
The chair asked the gentlelady if she wishes to seek unanimous consent to modify or withdraw her remarks.
I will not withdraw my remarks because the facts show the proof.
So in making a ruling on this, it's pretty clear that the rules state you can't impugn someone's character. Identifying or calling someone a liar is unacceptable in this committee. And I make the ruling that we strike those words.
So as you can see, what happened after I called Secretary Mayorkas a liar is Benny Thompson basically took control and he beat our chairman, Mark Green. He did. And that is the most unfortunate thing that happened on the committee yesterday. Benny Thompson, who, let me remind everyone about Benny Thompson. Benny Thompson has spent the past 2 years as chairman of the January 6th committee calling all Republicans insurrectionists, terrorists, traitors, racists, anti-Semites, and every name you could possibly think of. Not only myself included, but all of my Republican colleagues, President Trump, his administration, and people that voted for President Trump for president. Any person that was there at the Capitol that day, Benny Thompson has called insurrectionists, traitors, terrorists, MAGA terrorists, all kinds of names. And he did that from his chairmanship, and he abused the power of the Committee of Congress, the January 6th committee. But yet he says, wait, people are watching this committee. They can't see her call the secretary a liar. What a joke. Does he take Americans as fools? You know, there's people all over the country who have lost loved ones to Chinese fentanyl, whose Secretary Mayorkas is not stopping coming across the border. There's people across the country who have lost a loved one due to crimes committed by illegal aliens in our country. Are their ears so precious that they can't hear me call Secretary Mayorkas a liar? Secretary Mayorkas is a liar. It is proven he has lied to Congress, not just to me yesterday, but he has lied to Congress multiple times. And let me show you, I wasn't the only one calling Secretary Mayorkas a liar. He has been called a liar. He has been accused of lying many times by my colleagues. Take a look now.
Not only have you lied under oath, you just admitted your own incompetence. You're asked, according to that definition, whether control exists, and you say yes. That sounds like a lie under oath.
As you can see, even our own chairman yesterday was accusing Secretary Mayorkas of being a liar and impugned his character by calling him incompetent. But no one called to strike down Chairman Green's words. No, just mine. And then yet it was Chairman Mark Green who ended up agreeing with Benny Thompson to strike down my words. No other people have accused Secretary Mayorkas of lying. You can watch this here.
We could give you money to hire 1,000 new border agents. Nobody wants to work for you. We're done with your lies to America. It's shameful what you brought upon our country. Mr. Chairman, I have no interest in asking this secretary any questions. He obfuscates and lies.
Oh, strike down his words. Wait, nobody called to strike down Clay Higgins' words. And I'm glad they didn't, because I agree with him 100% because he's right. Let me explain to you, here's the biggest problem we have. This is why Republicans fail. We don't stand up to the woke mob. We don't stand up to them when they try to abuse the system and try to call out the rules that they clearly disobey every single time.
Mr. Speaker, is anyone else tired of hearing the insurrectionist in chief continue to lie? Is Donald Trump A, pathological liar, B, a sociopath, C, a malignant narcissist, or D, all of the above? I'll be around all week. Look forward to hearing from you.
We cannot build an equitable anti-racist society if a member of Congress endorses white supremacy.
When Democrats wield power, what do? They run over Republicans. They don't care about the rules, and they work as hard as possible to destroy this country. We just came off of 2 years of Democrat control in the House of Representatives. Believe me, it is fresh in my mind how Democrats destroyed the rules and destroyed this country in just 2 years' time. And every single one of us, those of us watching this video at home, and every single American is suffering under Democrats not caring about the rules, not caring about our Constitution, and not caring about our borders and America's freedoms. Look at what's happened to us. We're struggling under inflation. People can hardly afford food in some places. Here we have a wide open border that Secretary Mayorkas has done nothing to secure. He doesn't even support Border Patrol agents, and they hate working for him. And I don't blame them one single bit. But this is Republicans' fault because we don't hold the line. We can't even stand up to the woke mob on the committee when they're saying and pretending that, oh, our committees can't be used in such a manner to impugn Secretary Mayorkas' character. What character does he have? Think about it. This is a man that sits before Congress and lies. He stands before America serving in a powerful position, but yet does nothing but allow our Constitution and our laws to be abused and destroyed every single day. That's what he does with his power. But Benny Thompson is so offended that I dare call him a liar. Benny Thompson, I want everyone to be clear about who Benny Thompson is, because I think most people watching actually know. Benny Thompson has abused his political positions to politically attack Republicans and President Trump, and he will do it again if the Democrats gain power once more. But here's the problem we have going forward. Now on the Homeland Committee, they're going to do this same game every single time. Now that they got to win because they beat Republicans yesterday, you watched it happen. Our own chairman struck down my words, and he didn't have to do that. He could have called for a vote, just like he did with Eric Swalwell. He could have brought it for a vote, and Republicans could have had courage, held the line, and voted down what the Democrats were trying to do. That would have been fighting back. But we didn't fight back yesterday. They struck down my words. Not only did they strike down my words, they took away the rest of my time interviewing, questioning, and talking to Mayorkas. So they didn't take my words away. They also silenced me. This is why we're losing our country. We can't allow this to go on. And I am really fed up with it, sick and tired of it. So let's think about, here's the results. I want to show you a video. Let's take a quick break and you'll see the results of Republicans caving.
A state of emergency at the Texas border.
Another series of major fentanyl busts in Arizona.
Joe Biden has brought in 5 million people with his failure to secure America's borders.
5 million illegals, including thousands of Chinese citizens.
President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are in business with the cartels as they traffic humans and drugs across our border.
Fentanyl seizures are skyrocketing at the border.
Enough deadly and illegal fentanyl seized this year to kill every American.
In Georgia, fentanyl deaths have gone up by 230%. On average, over 300 Americans die every single day from fentanyl poisoning.
Why isn't this a national security crisis?
Immigration is a political issue.
This administration,
The border is not open.
it's like they're guilty of treason.
Fentanyl is killing more than 70,000 Americans a year.
I am so sorry for the death of your 2 sons that died from fentanyl poisoning that should never have happened.
A poor mother who lost 2 kids to fentanyl. The interesting thing is that fentanyl they took came during the last administration.
You mock the loss of my sons. How dare you?
We are completely against the policies of the Biden administration that's allowing the murder of over 300 Americans a day from fentanyl, allowing the Mexican cartels to illegally make over $20 billion, and allow our country to be invaded every single day.
I think it's very important for everyone to learn a lesson when things go wrong. And the lesson I hope that was taken from the committee yesterday is not only does Secretary Mayorkas need to be impeached, I can't believe he's still doing his job. He should have resigned, but he has to be impeached. And in order to impeach Secretary Mayorkas, it's going to take every single Republican in our conference to have real courage. Because if you can't stand up to the Democrats when they're trying to strike down another Republican member's words when she's saying the truth like I did by calling Secretary Mayorkas a liar, then how is anyone going to be brave enough to cast that vote to impeach Secretary Mayorkas? The only way to save America is for Republicans to grow a spine, and that takes real courage. Yeah, it's uncomfortable fighting the Democrats and arguing. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But Republicans need to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because the entire country is at stake. So going forward, I hope that I can count on my Republican colleagues, and I hope that we can count on the conference to hold the line against the Democrats' attacks, their lies, their abuse, their corruption, and their willingness to try to call us out when we're right, and they're going to accuse us of being wrong. I hope we do better. We'll be back in session next week, and I hope you guys continue to join me on Battleground MTG.